свята 21 листопада не лише зміцнили дух українських десантників, а й впровадили нові бойових дій.
We are probably all aware of the conflict that's going on between Ukraine and Russia. A lot of people got affected by it, and everyone seems worried about what will happen after this war. Well, we are not sure of what will happen, but if there's one thing we are sure of, it's that the war will affect most countries' economies. So, the question is, what happens to the economy after a war? Let's start with inflation. In many cases, conflict causes inflation, which results in the loss of people's savings, increased uncertainty, and a lack of confidence in the financial system. When a country is damaged by war and its capacity to manufacture goods is drastically reduced, hyperinflation can result when governments hurriedly print money to make up for the shortage of goods. In 1946, for example, Hungary and Austria saw the greatest rates of hyperinflation on record due to a crippled economy. Oh yeah, I think at least the next one already all of us noticed. The increasing oil prices. The Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022 resulted in an increase in oil and gas prices, which will lead to higher worldwide gasoline prices. Economic sanctions against Russia in response to the invasion will limit supplies and put upward pressure on gas prices because Russia is a significant supplier of oil and gas. In particular, if Nord Stream 2 goes into operation, the EU will drastically increase its dependence on Russian gas. The US, on the other hand, has been warning Germany about the project for several years. However, since more than 35% of Germany's gas already comes from Russia, they would like to see faster delivery times and actually improve relations with the Russians politically as well, until the invasion now occurred, and they therefore see the project as a potential sanction with which they would of course also harm themselves, and which however is unlikely to occur in the near future since Russia is clearly one of the largest gas exporting countries. And the switch to renewable energy is also not a step that can be taken overnight. That is why Nord Stream 2 is still under discussion. Next point, possible unemployment. However, when great wars come to a conclusion, returning troops may find it difficult to find work. Following the end of World War I, there was a severe economic downturn, and returning troops struggled to locate occupations that had been lost during the conflict. Following the end of World War I, there was a significant increase in unemployment. The Versailles Treaty, which sought reparations from Germany, did not help matters because it resulted in decreased trade. These are only a few examples of the economic repercussions of war. But you might wonder, what are the economic consequences of the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, since Russia is experiencing some sanctions because of the war? They have stopped paying interests to international investors who hold government bonds, as well as prohibiting Russian enterprises from paying their outside shareholders. For starters, global oil and gas prices are rising, since Russia is a major oil and gas provider, and several European nations are refusing to do business with them due to the ongoing conflict. Then, the stock markets. Stocks have been zigzagging for several weeks. As tensions in Ukraine have increased and sanctions on Russia have been implemented in the days following its invasion of Ukraine, several massive explosions rattled Ukraine's capital Kyiv and thousands of people fled the war. Russian stocks and bonds are worth tens of billions of dollars to foreign investors. Russia has made it impossible for them to sell their assets. Western countries have imposed financial sanctions on Russia, freezing hundreds of billions of dollars in assets and making many sorts of foreign investments in the country extremely difficult. Apple, IKEA and TJX, the owner of TJ Maxx, are among the Western corporations that have distanced themselves from Russia. Maxx and Marshalls both announced that they had ceased operations in the area. Energy corporations such as Total Energies, BP, and Shell have also stated that they will abandon their oil projects in the country. European markets and global commodities have felt the brunt of the financial blow. The DAX index in Germany has lost more than 10% last week and is down about 20% from its early January high. According to Bank of America, investors pulled $6.7 billion out of European stocks last week. This is the largest outflow since the bank began recording the statistics in 2004. The cost of war is primarily hidden by national income accounting, which discounts the loss of life and destruction of physical and human resources. Furthermore, war-related resources are treated as final goods or services rather than as production costs. These features of national income accounting are not adjusted in this video. It focuses solely on the impact of war on per capita GDP. It calls into doubt that many people's belief that war is beneficial for business, presumably because it increases employment and production. Conflict is not good for business, according to the careful measurement of war in the context of a huge dataset. Aside from the deaths and destruction of physical and human capital that are neglected by national income accounting, and the portrayal of the cost of war as a positive value by national income accounting. War has a propensity to diminish GDP per capita as assessed. Countries in the midst of a war underperform both in terms of production and consumption. Lower labor and total factor productivity, presumably due to the destruction of existing physical and human capital, a lack of investment in new physical and human capital, and reduced gains from both internal and external sources lower GDP per capita. Do you think NATO will interfere, or is it too risky because it could lead to nuclear war? Let me know in the comments down below. But as you see, war is like an economic killer. Imagine the struggles all the affected countries are going through right now. At the end of the day, we are all just human beings and shouldn't wipe each other out because of money and power or even because of different backgrounds. We are not immortal. However, if you are interested in topics like finance, economy, insurances, taxes, debt and much more, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel to be informed of more things like these. Till the next.